Fano groups are training elite forces. Elite units are being trained. It was announced by Fano commanders during a two-day symposium, virtual symposium ongoing. Another announcement was made by Fano commanders. AFNF organized this symposium. So what is happening there? Which announcements are being made by Fano groups? There, secondly, a viewer sent an email to me, said, Sajid, you always say it takes two to tango regarding the ongoing tension between Eritrea and Ethiopia. Ethiopia is threatening to annex Eritrean territories, and you're saying it takes two to tango. You're unfair. So I want to say a few words about Abiy versus Isaias. Should we blame both for this heightened tension between the two countries? Thirdly, William Ruto has arrived in Ethiopia to be the chief guest of GERD inauguration ceremony. Let's have a look at this news story first about William Ruto, Kenyan president who has arrived in Addis Ababa. Reportedly on Tuesday, Ethiopian government will inaugurate GERD, Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Its construction has been completed despite opposition from Sudan and Egypt. Now GERD is being officially inaugurated. Why is that Ruto has been chosen by Ethiopia to be the chief guest of the inauguration ceremony? I think no one is going to be willing to be chief guest from Europe, from America, even from the Middle East too. I think Europeans, Americans, they have been opposing the construction of the dam. And secondly, it's not appropriate to make them chief guests because they opposed construction of GERD. Arab world is divided, I think. They don't want perhaps to be overtly hostile to Egypt. That is why they might not be willing to attend this ceremony as a chief guest. Ruto can be a chief guest because Kenya is buying hydroelectricity generated from GERD. And through Kenya, Ethiopia plans to transport electricity to other countries too. Kenya is a beneficiary of GERD. Ruto perhaps is not a close ally of Egypt. That is why he has been chosen to be the chief guest of this ceremony. We'll see in coming hours who will be the chief guest or who will be the main participant. So far, no official announcement by the government, but some sources say that Ruto will be the chief guest. Now, Amhara Fano National Force, viewers, AFNF is holding a symposium. Over a week ago, I informed you that Amhara Fano National Force was going to organize a virtual symposium. News confirmed. Yesterday, symposium started, and today I think it will end. Two-day symposium. Fano commanders are attending the symposium. It's AFNF symposium, by the way. AFPO, Amhara Fano People's Organization, led by Skandar Naga, is not participating. AFNF, we were told a few days ago that AFNF commanders will brief the people about Fano's gains, Fano's objectives. We heard what Fano commanders said yesterday. Today's symposium is going to start after a few minutes. Amhara Fano National Force commanders say that they are increasingly becoming more centralized. But gradually, they are building a central organization to lead all the Fano groups, though they're nowhere near building one central organization, Fano organization. AFNF and AFPO are two main organizations. They are nowhere close, by the way. They are hostile to each other. They fight each other. They've been killing each other's fighters. Even internally, there are problems. Intra AFNF problems are there too. Between Akasi and AFNF exchanged some strong statements recently, then they reconciled. Gujjam Fano is participating. People were saying that Gujjam Fano might not attend the symposium. Asras Mare then delivered a speech. So Gujjam Fano is here. The Fano commanders further said they are building elite forces. The elite forces are highly skilled. They can operate in various situations. They can carry out difficult missions. Elite forces means commando units. So Fano fighters are not just recruits with training of a few days. Now very highly specialized units are being established by Fano groups. And some of these units are specialized. They, just like military has specialized units, some are skilled in artillery handling, others are skilled in armor handling, others conduct surveillance, reconnaissance activities. There are others who work in logistic department. Fano groups say that they're also building military-like structures, elite units, fully capable, armed, skilled, are being trained to. And just like Republican Guards, just like other commando forces in Ethiopia. How effective these elite forces will be, that remains to be seen. So I'll do a video tomorrow as well about this symposium when it ends. Last viewers, who is to blame, Abiy or Isaias? People say, Sajid, you're unfair on Eritrea. It's Ethiopia which is threatening to annex Eritrean territories. Well, firstly, I just report. I am not here to give verdicts. I report. I share statements with two sides. I always say no to war. I ask people to say no to war. I am not a party. I don't want to be a party. But since you asked, so I want to answer. If you ask and you say, Sajid, what's your view? Then I give my views. Yes, what Ethiopia is saying is a violation of international law. Ethiopia recognized Eritrea as a country. But problem started after Abiy and Isaias hugged each other. Hand in hand, they waged war on Tigray, on TPL. During that war, they made some promises to each other. Isaias said in those engagements that Abiy can use Masawa, he can use Assab. So Abiy took it seriously, I think. Just like Yamawi's mother once said that you'll be a king, you are a king. You're an emperor. And he took it seriously. And he believed that he is God sent king for Ethiopia. So I think he took Isaias Afwerki's offers seriously. And now Abiy is not withdrawing. He says, you promised to give Masawa and Assab. You said we can jointly use these ports. Now we want to use these ports. We want to have our shares there. Isaias gave hopes to Abiy during their joint offensive on Tigray. But when they developed differences and Pretoria was signed, they parted ways. Now Abiy is reminding Isaias that you promised that Ethiopia and Eritrea will jointly use Assab and Massawa. Where is your promise? Isaias basically wanted Abiy to crush TPLF. He wanted to use Abiy against TPLF. So both have their own agendas, their own ambitions. It's not fight for people's rights which they are going to fight if it happened. They are fighting to protect their rules. That's how I see the situation. I never said that Ethiopia has every right to gain access to Assad. And I never said that Ethiopia should have no access to a port. I always said that such issues should be solved through dialogue, through engagement. Port use can be a major source of earning for a country. If a landlocked country uses port of another country, it's a huge source of income for that country. Ethiopia is requesting South Sudan to use Djibouti's ports through Ethiopian territories. Why? It will get transit fees. Ethiopia ready to build the roads, infrastructure from South Sudan to Djibouti. Ready to give loans to South Sudan's government. Why? Because it will get transit fees. And it will go on for generations. So issues should be solved, I think. Trust should be built. Countries should learn how to benefit from each other. Thanks for watching.